Hey guys, Kevin Lucas here with New Hope Regeneration. We're on the New Hope podcast, and I have someone that is really super special to me. I'm not too much of a fanboy or whatever the common term today is of athletes and all the different things, celebrity stuff. And Travis definitely is not going to say that he's a celebrity, but when I first saw Travis at PGF season 5, there was just something about him that really just drew my attention from a technical perspective, how he carried himself. There just was like there was just kind of magic, and so it's been really interesting as I've jumped into the fight world, and I'm a lifelong martial artist. I'm newer in the jiu-jitsu world, but there's just guys that you meet that you're just really blown away by, how they carry themselves, how they interact with other people. The fight world can be kind of bizarre because it takes a certain level of alpha or ego. And then there's some dudes that carry that too far, and then there's some guys that just carry that warrior spirit of respect and focus and determination and grit and gratitude all at the same time. And Travis, hello and welcome to our podcast today. I just am so excited for us to get some more time to talk. For those of you that don't know, this is Travis the Mantis Thomas. He is one of the most spectacular BJJ clinicians, technicians, fighters that I have had the privilege getting to watch, and watching him over this last going on full year now. It's just been spectacular. So Travis, hello and welcome to the New Hope podcast today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on here. It's actually been, I would say, the same pleasure to meet Kevin. Kevin is a super wonderful human being, and what they got going on at New Hope is super special. Like he just said, have had the pleasure of knowing Kevin for the past year, and I mean it's been nothing but good friendship, good vibes, and anything Kevin to do to help me out, he's always there to do that. So I appreciate that, and thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. We get approached a lot today with guys that are looking for help and sponsorships and those kinds of things. And because we're inundated and we're bombarded by so many people, wanting stem cell therapy or looking for help, to be able to just go down this really hard journey that's being a fighter. And because we get approached so often, we have this giant pool of guys and gals that we could potentially pull from. But Travis and we had never met, but his performance at PGF season 5 was so outstanding that I actually just went up to him, started chatting, and then offered him the opportunity to be one of the New Hope fighters, and took care of his stem cell therapy, have helped him out with some other competitions and stuff. But I mean, and the reason I'm saying that is that just Travis, I just was so blown away by you and your passion and your mission. Can you tell me really why you love this fight game so much? Because I mean, and what's really odd too is that the non-BJJ guys, like so the striking guys, the MMA world, and a lot of times the boxing world, sometimes they get a little salty and they get a little bitter, and they're like, jiu-jitsu is not real combat sports, and I mean, and that just blows my mind, right? But why did you decide to go down this really, really difficult path of being a fighter?
Yeah, I think, man, I've always been in competition. I've loved sports my whole life. It just always seemed like the team sports didn't work out the best for me. Not that like all my teams were bad, but it just so happened that I was never on like a team with the same determination and drive as me. So like we just never really met the same goal. And then, yeah, my buddy had told me I should try martial arts. I got into jiu-jitsu at 10th Planet Decatur and just immediately fell in love with the competition, with the aurora that everybody held there. I just felt like martial arts brought a lot more than just a fight. There was a lot of respect and honor, and there was people in there that cared about other people. And then the further I get into the game, the more I realize that you can not only help somebody on the journey of like learning how to fight, but you can help people on the journey of life. And jiu-jitsu especially presents a lot of problems that people are going through just in everyday life or day-to-day life. And so you get to see those things, and then you get to like confront them head on, and you get to work with people on those things. my dream is just to take what martial arts has given to me and give it back to people. One day, just own a gym and, hopefully be able to do what you've done with me or other people have done with me and support athletes on their journey to,
Yeah.
making a good life for themselves, whether that is being a world champion or just looking for somebody to connect with on a higher level and like a mentor type deal.
Yeah, and it really just, I mean, it's amazing. And what you said about the jujitsu family, I've been involved with elite level sports in our clinics around the country, over the last 25, going on 30 years now. We've worked with every professional sport that you can imagine, every AAU level, every college athlete, Olympians, and what it really blows me away about the jiu-jitsu community is that it's exactly what you just said. A lot of guys, people think they just want to come in because they want to learn how to, snap someone's arm off or put someone to sleep. But the truth is, after they've been coming to the academy for a few weeks or a few months, the next thing you know, there's like, that is really one of the only places that I feel like I'm loved on, that I'm respected, that I'm appreciated. And it doesn't matter if they're a super athlete, it doesn't matter if they're a super nerd, it doesn't matter if they're, given a Greek god body or they're, 122 pounds soaking wet. The jiu-jitsu family really is special, and man, I just want to talk about what a blessing it was for you to have 10th Planet Decatur and BMAC be your starting point for that jiu-jitsu world, because it's getting better, but there's still a lot of snake pits out there, and there's a lot of places that unless you want to be a high level competition athlete, you're really not going to be accepted to the same degree. And what I love so much about BMAC and his heart is, and his whole group of coaches, right? He's created this culture, this team, this group of people that are literally there to help everybody with whatever they have going on the mats and off the mats. And so, what a super huge blessing for you to get to drop into that as your first go around.
Yeah, it's funny when I first started getting into martial arts. Obviously, I started at 10th Planet Decatur, and to me, it was just the gym in town. So I just went, and
Yeah.
the more and more I started training at different places or competing at different places, everybody was like, "Man, you are just so lucky to be training with Brandon." And again, at first, I didn't really realize that was something. I thought that, oh, this is just jujitsu. I'm sure everybody's teaching the same thing. Um, Not only does Brandon teach at a super high level and compete or train at a super high level, but what a good guy. He's like obviously the PGF, which is coming up. He's the one who started it, and it's really a dude who loves the sport, who loves the competition scene, who grew up in the competition scene where it wasn't paying the athletes or the promotions or the sport wasn't really giving back to the athletes, and he's just like full force
Right.
trying to put back into the athletes. So a super super special opportunity for me just to, yeah, like you said, just come into the jiu-jitsu world at such a high level. And again, it's not like an Atos or a B team or a New Wave, which actually makes it more special because I walk into the gym and can walk into Brandon's office, shut the door, and have a chat with him. Just me and
Right.
him, and I could do that almost any time. He is super busy, so especially now he's always on the go. But
Right.
in the beginning, it was just if I needed to chat with him, if I wanted to roll with him, yeah, he was always there.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing for sure. So let's continue down that PGF conversation. So we met at PGF season 5 Indicator,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just really super awesome to just see this environment and this format, and leading up to that. Most of my experience was kind of the typical big name jujitsu tournaments, and the level of excitement that is the PGF really blew me away. So since then, we've gone back to some of the other promotions, and it's like, okay, we're gonna get 5 minutes or 8 minutes of someone is gonna try to get their two advantage points, and then they're gonna camp out for the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds and really not do jujitsu. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not, you can't get away with that shit in at the PGF.
Yeah, yeah. The PGF really highlights really highlights movement and excitement. I think the PGF is trying to do something a little bit different, and it's not necessarily showing. I don't want to say it's not showing the best jiu-jitsu athlete, but it's not all about the best practitioner. It's about somebody
Right.
who's willing to put it on an exciting match for the fans. The PGF is something that people who don't know about jiu-jitsu can watch, and they can follow along, and they can actually see something that's going on, or like see
Right.
what's going on. They don't
Yeah.
have to be worried about like, oh well, what's this position, or why is this guy just laying on top of this guy. Yeah, the
Right.
PGF doesn't allow that, and there's going to be a lot of stalling calls.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's one of the most exciting things. Now, having fought in previous seasons and competed in previous seasons, watching the rocket ship that happened right after season 5 into season 6, what was that like for you getting to see, what you might get to be participating in when they came back to your weight class?
Yeah, I mean, super, super awesome. I think that the Decatur scene was super cool. It felt super homey, especially for me. Like this is where I live, so it was super nice just to be able to go to like a local spot. But the fact that now it's in Vegas and there's superstars behind it, there's rock stars behind it, there's all these famous people that want to get involved. I mean, especially for me being an athlete where the sport doesn't provide a lot of income through competing or training or whatever it may be. It looks like that's on the horizon now, and it gives
Yeah.
me a lot of hope. Like going out and competing on a stage like this is going to get so many eyes and like people that are willing to put money into the sport. It just looks like, I mean, it's exactly what we're looking for. It's the end
Right.
goal, but it's here.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things that I really loved that, I didn't realize wasn't happening in the jiu-jitsu scene, but BMAC and I were talking one day and he's like, look, like how do we get non-jiu-jitsu guys involved, right? And how do we get non-jiu-jitsu guys to like the athletes? And if we have someone who becomes a super Tom Brady fan, or they become a Michael Jordan fan, or whoever, the athlete is, all of these other leagues, the NBA, the NFL, MLS, whatever we're talking about, has this platform where they can see the fighters consistently. They have the opportunity to follow along. They have the opportunity to participate in fantasy leagues, all these cool things that was missing in the fight world, really. And then BMAX brilliance saw the need for all of that, bringing all that together. So one of the coolest things about the season is that now not only do you get to watch your athlete, or the person that you really love, watch and fight and roll, fight one time, but now you get to watch them fight 3 times in a night, and then over the course of the next week.
Yeah.
There's two parts to that. One, how cool is that? And two, as a competitor, how freaking hard is that to have 3 matches a night, over the course of 4 or 5 nights?
Yeah, I think that the fact that people can follow along and they can get more involved with an athlete is super special and kind of plays helpful to me. I think that for whatever reason, I mean, I am just myself, but for whatever reason, I get along with people super well. And when people get to know who I am, they get to see how I act. I feel like people kind of come towards me and want to be a part of that. So the fact that I get a week long to show people who I am and talk about my life and just be authentic, I get to gain fans, and you don't get that in a Naga or just a
Right.
one-off tournament. There's not
Yeah, or,
really,
or IBJJF, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, you might be the top of the totem pole, but if you show up, let's say we're going to Worlds, and you don't win your first match, you're done. And not even
mhm,
just for rest of the day, for your 4 or 5 more matches that day, but you're done. And the PGF is the opposite. You're gonna fight 3 times in a night, and then you're gonna fight over the next 4 nights, trying to earn a spot for your team, and an individual fight for that fifth night.
yeah. So yeah, so there I get to build this personality. I get to build fans. I get to People will follow along with me after the PGF. Like you said, even if I go out and shit the bed the first 3 days and lose every single match, I still have another day and 3 more matches.
Right.
Again, that probably won't get you to the playoffs, but you get 12 matches regardless. When you show
Right.
up, you're doing 12 matches no matter how they go.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah.
Say,
Now, let's talk about, though, the toll. And what a lot of people don't understand is they don't realize that everybody has the shot at coming to the PGF, which is I love. It's like the whole college basketball scene, right? Like you have the chance to earn your way into the big dance, and BMAC and PGF has created that opportunity. Go to one of the qualifiers, win the qualifier, and you automatically get to go to the PGF. But what a lot of dudes don't know is what it takes to be able to mentally stay in the game 3 matches a night for 4 or 5 days in a row, and then the physical toll that takes on your body. Why don't you talk about that from the fighter perspective?
Yeah, I think even I had a little misconstrusion of what the PGF was going to be. I thought, oh, I do this every day. I train 5, 6, 10 hard rounds a night. I do it twice a day. It's something that I live. And then you actually get there and you realize like, okay, this is a lot more than just competing 3 times a night. It's camera work and it's putting your putting your attitude and your behavior behind the camera and talking to all these people and on top of the 3 matches a night.
Right.
I think that people come in and have the same thought that I had, like, oh, this is going to be super easy. I train like this all the time. And then by
Right.
day 2, day 3, you've realized, like, oh man, I still have 2 more nights, possibly 3 more nights. I,
Right.
yeah, I think that it's possible, it's possible to get through the gauntlet and not be as beat up. But it's hard too because you want to like, do you want to pace yourself and possibly not score any points the first 2 nights so that you can come
Right.
in the last 2 nights super hard, or do you want to come out the gate super hard, get on top, and kind of bring some momentum along?
Yeah, that I mean, and there's so many different strategies that I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. There's so many different strategies, and then it's interesting because then you'll see someone change their strategy that they weren't planning to do, right?
Yeah,
Like they're coming out against one of the top guys who had been rolling like X, and now they change up their game. So what they thought they were going to get to do against this guy tonight completely changes because now he's doing something
yeah,
completely different, and it's literally one of the coolest, most, and this is what so many people don't understand about jiu-jitsu, right? It really truly is a thinking, feeling mix. Like
hmm,
you're feeling what's happening in the fight. You can't really run away, right? Like for me, coming from the stand-up world to the jiu-jitsu world, like that was one of the most shocking things. Was like, okay, if I'm standing up with someone, like I can create space, in a lot of different capacities, right? We can circle, we can angle, we can do all the things, but like now you're both on the mat and someone has a hold of you and you ain't going nowhere,
yeah.
right? And so it's such a whole different dynamic, and your whole night might get blown out of the water. Not you in particular, but a fighter's night might get blown out of the water because that how they thought they were going to fight against maybe Cam Hurd, or now completely changes because Cam is doing something completely different. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it is super hard to game plan for the night, especially with the idea that there's alternates and some people get hurt, and that could be like a last minute sub. There, so last year's or season 5, I came in. I was supposed to fight Kevin Sherrill of day 2, and we had known that he had gotten hurt, but we really didn't know until the night of, and then they had a sub come in, which I would say probably benefited me a little bit. The
Yeah.
alternates usually aren't as high level as the guys that are in the game, but there again, like that's a totally different game plan. I'm going against a totally different human.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that play into the PGF that make it super special. Like
Right.
we said, there's the 12 matches. There's tons of different athletes. There's super high level guys, and then there's guys who won the qualifier that you have no clue about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Absolutely.
a lot of things that go into a lot of things that goes into the game. I think what my game plan is and what makes me special for the PGF is I play all the games.
Right.
I don't need a certain position to finish the match. I will finish the match however you want me to do it.
It's true, and this is one of the things for me. What I love seeing in a fighter, and an athlete, right, and as a human being, and this is why I think jujitsu can be such a good representation, and why I'm so drawn to your style is that you're kind of like Bruce Lee, right? Like I got to be water, right? I got to take the shape of the bowl, the cup, the plate, the concrete, whatever I'm on, And so watching you compete, not just in PGF, but some of the other, promotions that you fought in as well, like people don't know what to do with you because in jiu-jitsu so many times there's matchups like, man, I'm going to be a leg lock guy, I'm going to be a guillotine guy, I'm going to be a whatever. And then when you come in and throw all of that out of the equation because you have such fluidity and skill set to adapt to whatever's happening, that causes a lot of trouble for dudes. I mean, and that's why I really love watching you so much, is that being on planet Earth, if you can't adapt and if you can't change what you're doing to deal with whatever stresses in life that are happening in the moment, you're gonna really suffer and you're gonna struggle. And your jujitsu is just like, I think, what a good example of being a good human in life is like. You gotta adapt, man, and your game is so sick.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what I said a little bit earlier. You know, jujitsu brings out not only your problems in life, but your strengths in life too. Jujitsu is a full
Amen.
circle martial art that isn't just about fighting. It's a lot about life and mental capacity and mental strength, and it brings out your flaws and it brings out your strengths. And I think in life that is something that I do very well, is I adapt to situations. And I've always said, like, I'm gonna make shit happen. I don't know
Yeah.
how it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna make shit happen.
Yeah, it's Sue. I mean, and again, that's why, like, I went and found you in the hallway and was like, man, thank you so much for just like, again, just amazing to watch you. I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan, from your first fight that I've seen, and just every time you step on the mat, you just take it to a whole other level. Who are some of the guys maybe that you've not competed with so far that you saw at some of the other qualifiers that you're excited to jump on board with?
mm, Team wise, or have a match against?
Match against.
Mm. I've already had a match against Cam Hurd, but I know that he's coming back, and I think that if me and Cam Hurd get on separate teams, that's going to be a banger of a match. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know which way it goes. Obviously, I'm going to push for myself. I'm a little biased, but I think that Cam Hurd is a super exciting athlete, and that's going to be one for the fans. Um, the Aster dude, I don't know his first name. He won the Austin qualifier. I think that he's a promising new prospect, and I would love to shut that down. Kyle Bain also won the Nashville qualifier. He's a big
Yeah,
name in the 10th Planet system. He's a big name in Jiu-Jitsu.
right.
That would be a super cool match to have as well. And then there's a couple guys that I've had matches with that I felt like could have went a totally different way that I also want redemption at. Ryan Aiken, Kyle Chambers,
Yeah,
Kamoy Anderson.
right.
So I think there's a lot of people in here that I would love to have a match with, and I think there's a lot of people that when I have a match with, they're going to notice a totally different grappler. I still play the same game. I still am going to submit somebody any way they allow me to. I'm going to
Right.
play on the top. I'm going to play on the bottom. I'm going to wrestle. But man, I've been really putting in a lot of work, and me and Scaff have really dialed in my game. So I think that a lot of these guys should be worried.
Awesome. Well, man, I can't wait. And what I want to leave everybody with is, um, any businesses that are looking for an amazing young man to sponsor. What a lot of people don't know, it's hard to make it as a fighter, right? You're having to train multiple times a day. There's not, as Travis said, especially in the jiu-jitsu world, there's like hardly any money in it. And so, for anybody who's looking to support an amazing young man who really has an amazing heart and is on mission to do good things for the community, I would strongly encourage you, connect with Travis. He will represent you and your brand at a really high level. And I just couldn't be more excited for you and the success that you're having in the fight world, especially in such a short window. Like, people don't realize how short time you've been in the fight world in the big picture compared to some of these other dudes have been rolling since they were 6 years old,
Yep.
right? And so the skill set that you have, the heart that you have, the passion that you have, hey, I'm here to vouch for you. We're supporting you as always, and we're going to be working really, really hard to get you on Team New Hope, obviously. What a lot of
Yes.
people may not know or don't know yet, is that New Hope is one of the team sponsors for season 7. So I can't wait for the draft so we can start working on getting our guys on Team New Hope. Can't wait. We're gonna see you in person here in a couple of weeks. PGF is literally right around the corner. What final words would you leave with everybody, Travis?
Yeah, man. Absolutely check out the PGF. Like Kevin said, I think that I agree. I am a person who will represent your company well. And if you guys are looking to get into the fight world, hit me up. You can find me on all my socials at underscore the Mantis. Obviously, please get me on the New Hope team. That's what I need for PGF. And check it out. I think I'm gonna win this thing. I'm gonna bring it home for the boys. Bring the belt back to Decatur and represent the team well. Team New Hope and Team 10th Planet Decatur.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Travis. I can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks. Please make sure you're taking care of yourself. You got that body ready to go for a long week of battles. These are going to be some bangers. I went to the Nashville qualifier. Like the fights that are coming up this week. If you have never really been into jujitsu, after you watch this season, I don't know how you don't drag you and your whole family to an academy in some capacity, because you're going to be, I think, really blown away by what jujitsu is going to be and what it is now, and now we just get to show everybody what it is. So Travis, thank you so much for your heart and being a warrior leader and a warrior servant, and I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kevin.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.